Greetings.
Hey everybody, good afternoon and welcome to another installment of Deep Disclosure.
Glad to see everybody. It's been a little over a month, I think, since we communicated with you last.
Yes, and not because we haven't had anything to say, but because it's been so freaking busy. So, well, at least in some areas, I have been doing a lot of sitting on the couch from all this crazy energy that's coming in.
Yeah, certainly a lot has been lifting and shifting. I know I've been doing a lot of emotional work. Things, as we indicated, would be coming up, and they certainly have.
Yeah, they continue to come up, and if you have felt it over the last few weeks, I don't know if anybody's tracking the Schumann Resonance. It's been up really high, spiking day after day, and it's only going to get more intense from here. The solar energy is continuing to flood in. We've had some strange occurrences around the globe. And it's just going to keep getting more intense, especially leading up into March. So expect another big spike starting in the middle of February, going all the way through the middle of March.
A lot of people are probably concerned about all the volcanoes and earthquakes going on nearly simultaneously, day after day, just recently. And we did get a communication from the Galactics pertaining to that.
Yeah, so they said it had something to do with the transition that our planet's going through, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what they've been telling me about the grid of our planet. So obviously our planet has an energetic grid, and it's being regridded to like a crystalline grid, and this has been kind of coming through from readings that I've been doing, that there are a bunch of grid workers on the planet right now. So there's like three different kinds of grid workers that are here with us currently. There are people that open up the portals or open up new energy points. And then once they have them opened and stabilized, an anchor comes and moves into that spot and holds it in place. And then they move on to the next one, creating a line, and then one of the movers comes in and follows along that line, moving energy. So you'll have a bunch of grid workers that are moving along those new energetic lines. And the reason for this, the reason that they've been doing the regridding, is to prevent a pole shift from happening, because in the past the pole shifts have happened that have changed our land masses, and about 90% of our population lives on the coastlines. And so if we were to have a pole shift happen with 90% on the coast, we would lose about 90% of our population. And so they decided that with the planet the size that it is right now, 7.5 billion people, a pole shift, a loss of that many lives would just have a really negative impact on the energy of the planet and the people that were left behind. And so they decided to do a bit of an intervention and regrid it. And so a lot of it has been regridded, but there are places that still are kind of being worked out. Like something happened in Norway where it wasn't a complete grid, and the soil, the magnetics of the soil flipped, but obviously the land stayed still. So that's happening, and it's kind of moving and pushing things along, which is causing some shaking up underneath, and some eruptions going on from the shifting of the energy happening, is what they explained to me.
So the Earth is recalibrating to the new grid, and it's kind of snapping into place, and that snap effect is causing these eruptions and earthquakes?
Well, it's kind of like we're at a place where the pulling is starting to happen more, than like magnetic pull. And if you've noticed, we've had a little bit of a pull happen with our north and south pole, where the axis is just like a little bit off of where it used to be, and so the pulling is getting stronger, but enough of the grid is in place already to stop a complete pole shift from happening.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
By the way, Happy New Year to everybody. 2020, large and strong. Many of you have probably been experiencing, at least what we're hearing and experiencing, is things dropping into place, lurching forward, big manifestations. And certainly that's been the case with all that we're working with pertaining to the banking systems, the crypto, and everything like that. We find now that there's a lot of white hats with extra light in their hearts in the high places that we needed to link up. And so, in essence, all these pieces that we've been waiting for are dropping into place with the right people in the significant high places, the banking systems and beyond, all coming into alignment. And we anticipate there to be a massive launch and shift before the end of January.
Very exciting. And they also, Spirit has referred to this year as a year of revelations, everything coming into the light. There being no more shadows to hide in. And so I talked a lot about this in the video I released last month with Joseph P. Anthony, our Sedona Psychic Speak, our 2020 predictions installment, where we did kind of an overview of the whole year. So there's a lot in there about what's going on with politics and energy, just going month by month, what we're expecting to see based on the stars and the communications coming in from the galactics that have been working with us.
Well, I think one thing that's evident to see is the number of people and planetary awakening pertaining to countries shifting into stronger alignment for freedom. And even in the case of Iran, you have what's going on there resulting in a further demonstration of the people wanting to be free, taking to the streets, risking their lives, and demonstrating that they don't want to be under the regime control the way it's been.
Absolutely. I touched on that a little bit when I mentioned that what was going on in Hong Kong was kind of the beginning, a contagion of freedom, if you will, of people starting to rise up. And in the Asian areas, including the Middle East, those continents that continent is very mired in tradition. They've been around for so long that they're kind of breaking through all of that now, and we're seeing a rise up happening. And so I think that's why we're seeing a little bit more civil unrest in those areas, is that they're having to break through a lot of deep and long tradition and government control that's been there for a while. So we're seeing some things stir up there, but it's very exciting because it's the beginning of the golden age, and people are saying we want to be free.
They sure are. And so whether it be shifts in consciousness or in health, all of it coming into alignment. Something that recently happened is I had a follower tell me that they were using this seal right here, passing it over people's bodies and having miraculous healings occur. So this is something that, again, we've talked about how powerful this seal is, and I guess you have to really try it to believe it. And so while I did express that I brought this through from my higher self, I didn't have all the knowledge about what the capacity of it would be. The other thing that has been happening that we're learning more about as we proceed is when we meditate with it, it opens up a portal around us and we gain access to our higher selves. And frankly, we've been doing meditations on the 22nd of the month with more and more people, and they're all experiencing, well, for the most part, those that have this kind of vision capability, because I do not. I have wisdom and insight and knowledge that drops in, but I don't have the same kind of vision capacity that, say, Miss M has and others have. But those that can see are saying that they're having a similar experience, and that is going into a temple and seeing the seventh seal on the floor of the temple, like in marble, and these pillars around, and people in white robes and purple robes, and basically going through another portal into ancient Egypt and seeing the Great Pyramids be erected. So this is very powerful stuff to be connected to in terms of activating a golden age again. And so many of us have been remembering our past lives and our involvement at these golden ages. And so we're finding each other now to be able to assist in the transformation and the building of the seventh and final golden age. And so these tools are available to accelerate your growth and your awareness. And so if you haven't experienced it, I encourage you to do so.
Absolutely. A very powerful tool, and really exciting to be able to work with it. I'm glad it's pretty cool that it's spreading all over the globe too, because we're kind of setting up a grid with that. So we've sent seals to people all over the planet, and everyone's working with them, and it's pretty awesome. So more about what's going on this year is that there are a lot of political things that are shifting, and that has to do with just some of the energies that are going on. So we're going to continue to see more of that going on. They did mention today about the impeachment process that's going on in the United States right now. There's a hidden reason behind why this impeachment has gone as far as it has, and as it moves into the Senate and the trial begins, the public trial begins, we're going to have some revelations come from that. So if you're afraid of this impeachment process, which not many people have tuned into it, but I did get a lot of messages and calls kind of freaking out over the impeachment vote. Just a little lesson in the way that works is that, and you've seen it happen now. It has to pass through the House, then it has to go to the Senate to be tried, and it won't pass through the Senate. So there's a reason why it's happening, and I think it'll bring forward some more exciting revelations, at least for those of us that want to see the truth come to light. There have been some other major revelations that have happened. There's more. Spirit had said that we would see the exposing of the pedophile rings beginning in Hollywood first, and then moving to DC and worldwide, and we're starting to see that happen now. There's been another young Disney star that's come forward. This is being tried in a civil suit, but there is evidence, lots of it, and a nice private or independent journalist has covered the story for us, so we get to see. They just recently came out with names and pictures of the people that are accused, and the evidence. They're coming out with more evidence about how this is going down in the court case. So that's a big major deal that's happening. This is the first time where we've seen this stuff make it into court and also be shared publicly. So like I said before, the Epstein thing, not death, it was not the end of that story. It's just the beginning. And I remember just a couple of years ago when Pizzagate broke, and everybody thought it was this wild and crazy conspiracy, and now we're seeing that's not so wild and crazy after all, that this is really happening, and it's time to clean it up on this planet. We're done having that experience. We're done playing that game. We're done allowing our children to be harmed in this way. We don't need to experience this anymore.
One thing from our intel sources, of course, all of them, including the Galactics, are indicating that Trump is going to win. And so in spring, after that winning, there will be a secret meeting. This meeting will be determining the final roundup of all the cabal members and those that are in the opposition perpetrating all of this against us. So that also came down the channel as a certain thing to occur. And we're all very excited for more, whether it be public or not, more evidence that this roundup and cleanup is fully happening.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's really important that we are kind to one another as the stuff comes out and as the energies intensify. A lot of people have wondered, what's my role? What's my purpose? What am I doing here? Well, because of the people that have woken up already and have kind of tuned into this and have been willing to accept the truth, your friends and family who thought you were crazy tinfoil hat person are going to remember that you knew about this stuff a long time ago, and they're going to be turning to you for answers and help when this stuff starts to become more public. Because for those of us who've known about it or grew up knowing about it, were born knowing about it, it's not that big of a shock. But to people who are, comfortably sleeping right now, it's going to be a major shock when these revelations occur.
And we're seeing more Mandela effects, aren't we?
Oh yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So yeah, some big major ones that have happened.
I was trying to think of some that come to mind, but can you recall?
Well, one of the ones that I found kind of interesting was the stuff with the Statue of Liberty. So in some people's timelines, you were always able to go into the torch of the Statue of Liberty. Apparently in this timeline it's closed off, and it has to do with a bombing that occurred on Black Tom Island in New York, where that apparently busted out windows in a 25-mile radius and was one of the reasons why we went into World War II. Now
No, World War One. That was World War One.
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. And I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly. I wasn't prepared to talk about this.
Oh, that's okay.
You gotta put me on the spot.
Well,
yeah. But anyways, I don't ever. You think that a big major like terrorist attack on U.S. soil would be something that we remembered? I don't remember that. The one with the World War II was the
bombing of the western states.
Yeah. With
instead of just being Pearl Harbor.
That there were like
and 8 people died in Oregon.
And apparently there's a plaque there saying commemorating them, honoring their death and the bombings that hit all of the western United States and western Canada, which I don't remember anything like that ever happening. So it just shows you that, number one, what we've been talking about, like, this is all an illusion. None of this is real. It's just a game that we're playing, and there's like infinite realities or infinite versions of the game, and they're kind of just collapsing into each other as we reach the final gate. And so it just shows you again that none of this is real. And so everything that we hold on to as sacred about our identities and who we think we are, none of it is real. The only thing real is what's in our feelings and our hearts. And the rest of it is just made up.
Well, in our collective agreement, again,
Yeah.
The more we co-sign on what we want to experience, those are the things that we're manifesting. And so tipping the scales with more light and more consciousness, creating the reality that we've envisioned is happening and has happened ever the more so, especially with the things that I was hinting at pertaining to players in high places joining forces with us and the White Hats becoming a stronger force for positive change in the banking systems, and many more coins and systems coming to the center to be part of our global system. And that hub has new exchanges and new coins and new technologies to be a complete system, which we have the resources, the assets, the various things necessary to implement that. And again, we firmly believe we're going to be starting that in this first quarter, and many, many things yet to happen here in January.
Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about the fires going on in Australia and stuff that's going on down there. Now, there's a major inner Earth base underneath Australia and New Zealand, and it hasn't been occupied by benevolent inner Earth beings. There's been some more scary characters underneath there, and also Australia had become kind of a haven for the globalists as other parts of the world became less friendly for them. And so what's going on there with the fires is absolutely horrible for all the animals that have been lost and the people that have been lost. and they are a result of arson, but it has something to do with things shifting in Australia and that no longer being a place where some like holdouts can stay. There is not going to be any place on this planet where unkind intentions and people can stay. It's not that's not going on anymore. We're done with all of that. And so this is another part of just cleansing it out. But it's intensified there.
Some of you may have seen my new video. I continue to make new videos, and the last one was dealing with the discoveries in Mexico. We have some mining partners down there, and they have found these ET relics with Egyptian, a lot of characters and resemblance of the three pyramids and the like on these tablets. And so what was really exciting about that is some of our new partners have agreed that we're going to basically put a museum up down there. And it's my hope that we'll also find some mummies that are ETs that are mummified. But the reason I bring this up, if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to check it out. It's really powerful. It shows whether it's time travel or Stargate travel, it's very obvious that that's what we're looking at in these tablets. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up was, and I haven't fully released this yet, but I found a tablet that has what resembles the seventh seal on it. And so I had this one channel tell me about a decade ago that I would be instrumental in bringing Stargates back to the planet, as if they've ever left, but into our consciousness that this is a real technology and that we'll be able to have use of it at some point in the future. She indicated that I would be instrumental in bringing them back to an active state as well. But so I find it, really compelling that something that resembles the geometry and everything about the technology that is likely involved in these advanced technologies are surfacing in the awareness. And so quite fascinating.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that video a lot. In fact, as I was watching it and as I've been going through some of the material, because there's a lot more that didn't get into that particular video. I was getting information about our history and the way that our planet works, and these things are surfacing now, but they're actually from our future, not from our past. And they were explaining to me that they came from a different timeline where technology was a lot more advanced, and then they kind of ended up here. And what happened was they were using time travel and stargates, and they created a rift in the space-time continuum, and they ended up getting taken from that timeline and dropped into our timeline, where at the time we didn't have advanced technology, and so they carved all these stones to let us know where we came from and the technology that they left behind. They explained to me that our timelines work in a way kind of like the energetic field around our planet, like the toroidal field that's around us. So we know already that time is cyclical, and it's not really linear. It's only linear the way we experience it here, so that we can have something that tethers us to this reality. But in reality, it's more of a cyclical thing, and it's not just a circle that it's going through. It's more like it comes in and out and implodes upon itself. So, and then as it implodes, a new reality is born. And so we've kind of just been in that cycle. So our planet is really, really old, but we've been living the same cycle over and over again.
Well, that was very confirming for me in a variety of ways. But one thing that I sort of channeled from my higher self probably nearly a decade ago is that Thoth, who's the Atlantean high priest character, was actually instrumental in time travel back then. And so this all doesn't surprise me because a lot of these tablets were around 7,000 to 9,000 BC, and of course, the sinking of Atlantis is put at around 10,000 BC, and at any rate, I think that time travel has played a bigger role throughout all this than most of us realize. And as many of you may recall, I talked about the cosmic scientist who indicated to me 20 years ago that I was involved in time travel back to Egypt to refine and tweak the gateways that we're going through, and that we've done this cycle, this great cycle, if you will, 7 times before. And so in many ways, we believe we're in somewhat uncharted water because he was referencing 2012 gateways. And so at any rate, it's all very telling that we continue to have a deeper understanding of all this information, and especially how it relates to our stories in our life. And so we would encourage any of you that have stories to contribute that and share so that we can, build a mosaic picture of a deeper understanding.
Absolutely. It's really fascinating. It's more interesting than anything my mind could make up.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, it's been really awesome to be able to have access to this probably one of the greatest archaeological finds of our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll be sharing more about that moving forward, and at some point in their future, you'll be able to come and see the things that have been recovered.
Absolutely. Well, that's the plan. Create a museum.
Yeah.
We have a few museums in mind because we're probably not able to release entirely what we're doing, but there are other archaeological things that we're involved with that'll be super exciting as well. And so, we continue to bring you as much as we can, but rest assured, it just keeps showing up in tremendous ways. And so 2020 out of the gate has been just truly a whirlwind of exciting things. And we're very happy to be bringing the encouraging news that our journey is just about ready to not enter a new chapter, but a new book.
Yeah.
And so we've held the line, and there's been certain ups and downs, and we've told you some of the stories that we could. There are many more that we have not been able to disclose yet that involve people that have been injured and people that have been on the front line, getting firsthand the kind of silent war that's been waged between, the light and dark. Even though we fully understand we're all one, at source, it is all the Creator creating the experiences, and we're all co-creators in these experiences for the evolution of soul. And so,
it's quite the game we've been playing.
Yeah, for sure. So the dichotomy of, opposition is something that we can't ignore, but at the same time, it's just, again, the experience is all how you perceive it.
So there's a lot about operations and stuff that's been going on that we haven't been able to talk about, which is why we haven't been doing as many of these updates. It's just, it's crunch time. It's too close. We can't say too many things that could jeopardize us finishing this. So I'm sure everybody's happy with it getting done and not needing to know the details about it up until that moment. But there are other things that have happened along the way that we will be talking about, like including us being arrested, which has come out recently. We have hinted at this before, and this is a few years back, and we'll be able to talk about that really soon. Kind of an interesting story about being targeted under the Patriot Act, and that's what happens when you're on the front line. Sometimes you get to be a target, and sometimes you get to have some pretty unpleasant experiences.
Yeah, it wasn't fun going through that. I mean, it didn't result in anything too serious, in essence, misdemeanors, everything was able to be resolved, and of course, but still,
with a little help from our friends.
True. There were indications that they wanted to do much more, certainly to me, than at first. It didn't seem like it was going to be too serious, but yeah, they had intentions to hang on to me longer, and there needed to be some intervention to prevent that.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be talking more about that when when we're able to, and but we're really excited about everything that's going on this year. And one of the things that we're really excited about is the Seven Seal Summit, and we've just been talking about what we're planning this year, because the show is evolving, and we definitely want something that's more experiential. But also, this year is going to be a special summit because it's going to be a leadership summit. So it's going to be a smaller group of people that we're inviting in to do some of the stuff that we've all been talking about. So it's going to be a little bit smaller and a little bit more intimate, but it's for a reason, and we're just really wanting to get to know all the people that have showed up to participate in the rebuilding of the world.
Absolutely. I thought it might also be interesting to speak something about the giving game, which I've started as well. And I find that the insights that it's provided has helped me to shift those emotional things that have been coming up for me in a very quick way. So for those of you that have heard about it or are interested, or in any case wish to know more, you should definitely check into that. Where do they find out about it?
So if you want to participate in the Giving Game, you can go to thegivinggamefoundation.com, and you're going to want to scroll down to the bottom and sign up. It's a 60-day program. It's absolutely free. And you just sign up for it, and you'll receive a daily lesson. And after you have signed up for it, you want to go ahead and listen to the entire How to Feel Better When Things Get Worse program that's right around the top of the page. And so it's an amazing program. It's been completely transformational for us, for anybody else that's used it. So grateful for Heather and Noel, who created the Giving Game. Just happened to sit down in the Seven Seals Summit right last year as I took the stage to do a live audience reading, and her husband came through, and that's how we met. And so I got introduced to this amazing program and tool that's been just so helpful with all this energy that's been going on. And I now too am doing Giving Game sessions, so you can go to my website, divinemissm.com, and you can sign up for either one-off sessions or a package that you work with me every week as you're going through the game. Now, the game itself is absolutely free. These are just some going deeper, clearing sessions that help to really get to the root of the core feelings and the core programs that are creating the reality and changing those new neural pathways so that you can have the reality that you want to live in. And so you can do that at my website, divinemissm.com. And also, because everything's happening so fast this year and we have so much going on, the time that I have for doing personal readings is going to be coming to an end probably in the first half of this year. So if you've been holding out and putting that off, and you want to have a personal reading, now is the time to book that with me.
I get it for free, so I'm good. But at the same time, we think that we have done our work, and then the energy comes along and brings up things that we thought we cleared a long time ago, and that's kind of where I've been with some of my stuff. And so I've been very grateful to have the aid and to be shifting profoundly.
And hopefully we'll get to the bottom of the barrel soon and not have anything else to clear out.
Well, Saint Germain told me about 20 years ago in this very powerful reading that even he is still evolving and going through higher levels of initiation. So in a way, it's never really over. We're still expanding in any case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love the ride.
Well, that's the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Learning how to love yourself deeper, and that love expands into loving our community more, and being able to
Yeah.
have more global impact.
I can't even really fully express how amazing this process has been. And so, speaking of love, we love you, Heather. Thank you for coming into our lives and bringing this game about for everybody else. These are the rules of engagement for how to win the game, and it's a lot more fun when you're playing within those parameters.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been a little bit of a space cadet today, if you haven't noticed. A little hard to speak, but we finally got our butts in front of this camera to tell you guys a little bit about what's going on and just kind of tune in with you energetically. It's a really exciting year. We're really, really excited about everything that's happening, and we couldn't be more happy with the way things have kind of unfolded for us and the planet. So we love you. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, listening to our crazy stories and believing them, because it's been hard for us to believe the whole time as well as we've been experiencing it. So we're all in this together, and when we are one, then we are done.
Well, so much love to each of you, and we know that you've felt the veracity of our voice and the harmony of our hearts. We are here for you. We are all here for one another, and this is going to be the year of massive global transformation, and we look forward to being able to empower everyone here in their passion and their purpose.
So we look forward to hearing from you, booking sessions, and also for those of you that will be joining us at the Seven Seal Summit this year, look for details coming out soon about tickets.
All right. Many blessings.